Okay, grade 11s. I put up on the classroom a few things that might be helpful, especially if you're doing the calendar program, because that one there is a lot trickier with trying to make the dates start at different times. Um, Python's a bit weird. In Java, that is straightforward how to do that. With Python, you might need to use some other things, which is why I want to show you this, uh, that you can, with loops, you can actually have an else. So um, if we look back to the countdown program where it says blast off, we would do something like while countdown is bigger than 0. What we did here was we printed the countdown plus or with an exclamation mark. And then we did countdown equals to countdown -1. And then when it was done, we did print. Now, to make sure this worked, I think some of us did this like if countdown equals 0, print blast off. Which was just a way to check to make sure it actually got to 0 and it didn't go somewhere lower. Other people might have just had the print blast off. So let's see if this. Oops, else. That's not how you spell else, but that's fine. So it went down here and did blast off. Now, this isn't necessary because our loop should go down to the end and have no problem. What you can do though, because then if we were doing this, do you want to run it again? There might be some weird tricky parts with it. But what you can do is you can actually just put an else here and then tab this in. So this else it acts as a way to do something after the loop, and we say naturally ends, like, and by naturally ends, it gets down to 0. So we'll see here, it's done the same thing all 3 times. There's been no issues with it. That's because this is very basic. We're not like checking for anything crazy. But here it's done it in the way that we want it to, because it as soon as this is done, it goes here, and it wouldn't print if somehow this broke. So let's say if count, just to make it break for a second, if countdown equals 1. Say we didn't want it to hit 1. We didn't want them to say 1 for whatever reason. We'd say break here. What should happen is it won't actually print the blast off because the loop didn't naturally end. So that's the reason for that else, is that if something were to stop it in between, it won't actually print it. This is not what we need. But what we could do is say we did for x, and it works for for loops as well, for x in range of 10. If, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check, like, this is again something that's not really what you'll be doing necessarily, but I'm going to check for even numbers in the list. And if there's an even number, it's going to break. If there's no even numbers, it's going to say all the numbers in there were odd. And this one, again, is going to not work. I'll start it from 1, and I'll go to 11. So this will go from 1 to 10 and just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this will break because there will be an odd one. So check if it's even. If we do the remainder with 2. This just checks remainder when dividing by 2. 0 means even. Right? Every even number can be divided by 2 and have no decimal. This would be print. There is an even number in the list. And then we're going to break it. Now, I wouldn't do my else here because I wanted to keep going through and checking. My else is here for the even, for the list being odd. So else, then I'm going to print these numbers were all odd. And that's the difference, is as soon as one of them became even, it broke it. But if they're all odd, it's fine. So here it's going to say there is an even number in the list. Actually going to just going to add this, so then there's a bit of a cutoff between them. So if we want to check, so that one works because this one obviously has an even number in it. If instead I went from 1 to 10 and went up by 2s, this should be all odd because it should go 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 and stop. Now it should print this out. So this one was fine because they were all odd numbers. The first one, so if I go side by side here, this first one were all even because it went, or so there was an even number because as soon as we got to 2, it was like, nope, there's an even number here. This one here went 1. Nope, that's not even, so it's going through again. Okay, we're at 3. Nope, 5. Nope, 9. Nope. Now there's nothing else to go to. We're going to print this. And because this naturally ended, now this can happen. Some of these programs you will have to use nested loops. Some of them maybe not. Like there are some that are going to be potentially easier, and that's fine. There is going to be a much more difficult assignment that comes up. We usually do it, so we'll see if we keep doing it. But this is just kind of a quick, you can use else here. This is not poor formatting. It's just weird because this is only in Python. Java does not do this. C, I've not seen this in C or in any version of C++, C#. This is a Python only thing, but it is neat. So if you need to use it, you can use it, and this is fine. So unlike the if else that you needed to have it, the for or while do not need an else, but it can have one if you want to add that feature to it. So that's why, just a quick one today, nothing too crazy.